What would you do if the person you helped with your last bit of food turned out to have the power to change your entire life? This is the story of a single dad janitor, a man who woke up every morning fighting battles no one saw, and a struggling soldier who hid a truth that could save him. Their paths crossed over a simple breakfast, but what happened after would shake an entire naval base. Daniel Reyes woke up before sunrise, just like every day. Not because he liked mornings, but because he had no choice. He tiptoed across the small one-room apartment, careful not to wake his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Her school uniform hung by the door, washed and ironed the night before, one of the few things he felt proud of. He had lost his wife 3 years ago, and since then, he became everything: father, mother, cook, cleaner, nurse, and a janitor who worked till his bones ached. That morning, Daniel checked his wallet, only $3 crumpled. Not enough for lunch. Not enough for breakfast. But Lily's lunchbox was full, and that was all that mattered. He reached the naval facility where he worked, pushing his cleaning cart through the empty halls. His stomach rumbled, but he ignored it. As he stepped outside to empty the trash, he noticed someone sitting alone on a bench near the mess hall, a young woman in a slightly torn military uniform. Her boots were dusty, her eyes swollen from lack of sleep, and she stared at the ground like it was the only thing holding her together. A soldier. Daniel hesitated. Soldiers never sat alone. They always had teams, groups, orders, purpose. But she looked lost. And hungry. Her hands trembled subtly, the kind of shaking that didn't come from cold, but from an empty stomach and a heavy heart. Daniel took a deep breath and walked toward her. "You okay?" he asked softly. The soldier straightened. "Yes, sir. I mean, yes." Her voice cracked, betraying her. Daniel sat beside her, opened his dusty lunchbox empty except for the small breakfast he had packed for himself, one sandwich, homemade and simple. He stared at it for a moment. His stomach begged him not to. But her face was pale, too pale. "You need this more than I do," he said, placing the sandwich gently on the bench between them. Her eyes widened. "No, sir, I can't take that. You worked for this." Daniel smiled faintly. "I work every day. You fight every day. Take it." Tears filled her eyes instantly, but she blinked them away quickly, like soldiers do. She took the sandwich with shaking hands. "Thank you," she whispered. I haven't eaten since yesterday." Daniel nodded. "Happens to all of us sometimes." But something about her felt different. She wasn't just hungry. She was carrying something heavy. Something painful. Before he could ask, a loud voice echoed across the courtyard. "Cadet Morgan. Get up, Admiral's inspection in 10 minutes. Daniel stood quickly. She stood too, wiping her face, adjusting her uniform. Cadet Morgan. He had heard that name before. But what he didn't know, what no one had bothered to tell him, was that this young woman was Admiral Evelyn Morgan's only daughter. And what was about to happen would change both their lives. Cadet Aria Morgan followed the officer toward the central hall, but her eyes kept drifting back to Daniel, the janitor who had given away the only food he had. No one had shown her that kind of kindness in months. Not since she secretly requested to join the lowest-ranked cadet training program without telling her mother, the Admiral. Aria didn't want special treatment. She wanted to earn her place. Even if it meant struggling. Even if it meant hiding the fact that her boots were worn out, her uniform secondhand, and her meals inconsistent. Inside the hall, Admiral Evelyn Morgan stood tall, a woman of steel, respected by all. Her gaze scanned her cadets like a hawk. "You look exhausted," she said to Aria the moment she approached. Aria froze. "Just training, ma'am." But Admiral Morgan's sharp eyes caught everything: the trembling hands, the pale face, the tear marks she thought she had wiped away. "Have you eaten?" the Admiral asked quietly, dangerously. Aria didn't answer. Which was the answer? The Admiral's jaw tightened in anger. Not at her daughter, but at whoever had failed her. Before she could say more, an officer rushed in. "Ma'am, we have a situation. The janitor in the East Wing collapsed during duty." Witnesses say he gave away his breakfast to a cadet. Arya felt her heart stop. No, she whispered. The Admiral turned sharply. What cadet? Arya swallowed hard. Me. Everything froze. Admiral Morgan stared at her daughter, then at the officer, then stormed out of the hall. When they reached the infirmary, Daniel was lying on a stretcher, semi-conscious, in his arm. Doctors moved around him, whispering about low blood sugar, fatigue, dehydration, the signs of a man carrying too much alone. Lily sat on a chair beside the bed, holding her father's hand, her little eyes terrified. Arya's chest tightened painfully. The Admiral approached Lily gently. Sweetheart. I'm Admiral Morgan. Don't be scared. Your father will be okay. Lily nodded silently. Then the Admiral turned to her daughter. Arya, tell me exactly what happened. Arya leaned forward, her voice trembling. He gave me his breakfast, ma'am. I didn't ask, he just saw I was struggling. He was kind. More kind than anyone here has been to me. The Admiral took a long breath. Then she walked to the doctor. What does he need? She asked firmly. Rest. Proper meals. And a break. This man works double shifts, raises a child alone, and refuses assistance. The Admiral turned back toward Daniel, the man who had helped her daughter without knowing who she was. He won't be alone anymore, she said. Her voice carried the weight of authority, command, and something deeper, respect. When Daniel finally opened his eyes, confused, the Admiral stepped forward. Mr. Reyes, she said. I owe you more than you realize. Daniel weakly shook his head. Ma'am, I didn't do anything. You gave my daughter the kindness this world forgot to give you. Arya stepped closer too. And I won't forget it. The Admiral continued. From today, your job is permanent. Your salary is doubled. Your shifts are reduced. And Lily will receive full educational support from the Naval Family Foundation. Daniel's eyes filled instantly. Ma'am, why? I don't deserve. Yes, the Admiral said firmly. You do. Because good men like you are rare. Arya smiled softly. And because you saved me when I was breaking. Daniel looked at Lily, who now smiled through her tears. For the first time in years, hope filled his chest, real, warm, overwhelming hope. And all of it began with one simple breakfast.